All right, so is it time to deep six this whole G8 summit thing? You have to wonder when the leaders of the richest nations on earth cannot even put out a clear communique as to what they just did or hope to do. And it's not only this image of President Obama and Vladimir Putin looking like my angry sons in the back seat of the car. It is us paying for that car and these meetings. Taxpayers the world over who have to wonder why in the world these guys keep doing this over and over, especially when it seems they can't seem to agree on much of anything. Claudia Rosett follows this kind of stuff all the time. You know, do these meetings have any value?
Neil, they could. At the moment, they would have a lot more value if the United States had a coherent foreign policy. You know, part of the problem is it's very unclear what we're actually really trying to get to. They are better than things like the UN Security Council.
Yeah. Well, that's a low bar, Claudia. That's right. A low bar. You know that.
But you have here something with enormous potential. You have basically the top wealthy democracies of the world plus one outlier, Russia. And they have a format where they really could do a lot. The biggest problem, Neil, is it's very unclear what the U.S. is really trying to do, apart from retreat, lead from behind, waffle, equivocate.
So well, I always wonder in this day and age, or we have video conference calls with the rest. I don't mean to trivialize personal meetings and powerful people. In fact, the leaders of the richest nations on earth getting together, meeting each other personally. But I wonder if it's overdone, and I wonder if it's over-trumpeted, and I wonder if you don't really have a clear agenda what you're going to do, and you get there and you still have no idea what you're going to do, whether it was worth the trip to do something you're not doing.
Well, this one certainly did seem ritual. I mean, they sort of decided that they were going to pursue tax evaders. Actually, I think that's not the crisis that the world is facing. You know, it's
right. That's
more
a
money
very
should
good
flow to
point.
these
They
governments.
always pursue items, and I used to cover these things all the time, economic summits and the rest, where they just came out with these broad community. We want to lift the global poverty rate. Well, there you go. That's a great goal. But they never really fine-tune things,
No, and what are the real problems that they should be dealing with? Iran is heading still for the bomb with, a change of names, the nameplates in the presidency. Russia, actually, we're seeing, in fact, Neil, the rise of a very sinister New World Order. Russia is sending naval warships into the Mediterranean for the first time since the Soviet era. We're seeing the rise of a militant China. We're seeing opportunistic, troubling forces moving into the vacuum as the U.S. retreats and leads from behind. And you had here a gathering of the countries that have the wealth. By the way, they're wealthy because they're democracies.
By the way, when did they start inviting Russia? Because I know that was done at goodwill at the time. And I know certainly Russia is wealthy with oil now and has a lot of money to splurge. But it was a club that held that common democracy bind. Now not so.
No, it was Bill Clinton's gift to Boris Yeltsin. It happened in the 90s when the hope was that Russia would be become a democracy. And they were sort of invited in. It looked strange at the time. Yeah, this was the G7, and then it was the G7 plus Russia, and then Russia formally joined. And it now makes it this very sort of odd mix. Why is Russia there and not China? What's Russia doing there at all? Neil, what we actually need is a coalition of democratic world leaders with a vision of where they want to get to, not pursuing tax evaders, but actually dealing with the Iranian bomb, the problem that you don't actually want a remilitarizing Russia moving into places like the Mediterranean. You want Russia moving toward democracy. You want China moving to, and these things are just not
even
really
remotely
being
discussed. Claudia, this is why I don't think you're going anywhere here, because you make way too much sense. But no, you're dead on right. You're dead on right. Claudia, always a pleasure. Thank you.
Pleasure, Neil.
It is.